I'm Councilman Nick D'Alessandro, and welcome to Knowing Your Government. This is a show brought to you by the town of East Fishkill, where we interview different department heads in our town hall, so you know what's going on here, and you know what's going to happen possibly in the future. And today we have with us our assessor, Kathy Martin. Kathy, how are you?
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having us here and have a little discussion about your office. So how long have you been our assessor?
I've been the assessor in East Fishkill for about 11 years.
Wow. And we share you with the town of Beacon, the city of Beacon, not
Yes.
the town, right?
Yes.
And, we were way ahead of the curve before shared services was even the thing to do.
True.
Right?
Yeah, a number of years ago, during the townwide reassessment, it was in 2006, the state was offering a lot of state funding to consolidate services, especially in the assessor's department. So the town of East Fishkill and the city of Beacon took advantage of that, and I am a shared service.
Well, we got lucky, that's for sure. What made you get into that line of work?
Well, I, years ago, had been an appraiser. And I worked for a private appraisal company, and we did mostly work for banks and mortgage companies. And at that time, I had seen a classified ad in the Poughkeepsie Journal that the town of Pleasant Valley was looking for an assessor, and that appraisal experience would be helpful. So I applied for the job, and I was there for 11 years before I came here.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah.
So now this time of year is what we call in town hall grievance time.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So for our residents, can you explain what the grievance process is?
Sure. We are an annually reassessing community. So what that means is every year I work on all the sales. We compile all the sales that have transferred in the town, all the different types of properties, whether they're commercial or vacant land, or single-family homes, or small offices, all the different types of properties. We look at all the sales, and we come up with how the market is trending. So what we do is we look back and we see, for a number of years previously, the market has been really kind of down.
Right.
It's been in a downward spiral. But now we're starting to see recovery and at least stabilization of the market. So we take all of this sales information and we analyze it.
Okay.
And then also at this time of year, we put on all the exemptions, like the STAR exemption, the agricultural exemptions, the veterans, everything we take in during the year, and we're working on creating what we call the tentative roll.
Okay.
So we put on all the new construction. If somebody builds a new house or if they do an addition, we figure out the values and we put all that information on the tentative assessment roll. And then and that's what I'm working on currently.
Right now.
So we send out notices to everybody around May 1st. That the tentative roll has been published, this is your new assessment, and if you have any questions, we encourage everybody to come into my office or give us a call. You can also look up your assessment online on Dutchess County Parcel Access.
Okay.
And see what your new assessment is. If it changed, it may not have even changed, but you can see if it changed, if it went up, if it went down.
Right.
And then what people or taxpayers would have to determine is whether or not they think that's fair. If they think it's a fair market value that we placed on their home, and what I mean by that is what would be what the typical sales price would be.
Okay.
What would a willing buyer pay for the property?
Okay, so so right around the beginning of May, I'll get a letter home, and it'll say what my value of my home is
Yes.
based upon your office.
Yes.
So if I don't like that value, and I think it's too high, now some people, the value of your assessment, that's how we use the tax rate to
Right.
charge you taxes,
Right.
Your property taxes. So, but not all the time is this true, that not all the time if your assessment increases, your taxes will increase.
That's not always true because
Not always
it
true.
depends on the movement of the whole town.
Okay.
And it also depends on the budgets. It depends on the town's budget. It depends, because if there is a lot of new inventory coming onto the assessment roll, like new construction, that could offset any increases.
Okay, so then the town board, in conjunction with your office, then we make the determination and we go from there.
Right.
And so, again, if I get the letter and I'm not happy with the assessment, what's my next steps?
Well, what I would encourage everybody to do would be to contact my office, because
Okay.
the tentative assessment roll is just that. It's tentative. It's not written in stone. It could still be changed. There's still several avenues that a person could go through and to have that value changed.
And what's the time period for that?
It would be from the beginning of May till the fourth Tuesday, or the fourth Tuesday in May. This
Okay.
year, I think it's the 23rd. Grievance Day is always the fourth Tuesday in May, and that's when the grievance board meets.
Okay.
So, but what I would suggest is when people get the letter, if they don't agree with the value, they should call me, make an appointment, and come in and have a discussion.
Okay.
Maybe they know about a sale that took place that I don't know about yet. Or maybe they have some information that I don't have. And that would be helpful in determining a value. A lot of times people will come in and, they'll say, well, you have me as having a finished basement, and I don't have a finished basement. So that would be good for me to know in determining the value. So
Okay.
there's room for discussion. We could look at other assessments. We could look at other comparable sales. And I can always show people how I came up with my value. And then it gives them an opportunity to say, well, I don't agree, and here's why.
Okay.
And then perhaps we can come to an agreement of what we think the value should be. And then they're finished. Then they're done. And then we go on to the next year. If we can't come to an agreement,
Right.
if I say, look, I really feel because I have these sales that your house should be worth $500,000, and the person says, well, I really don't agree with that, they still have the opportunity to go on to grievance day.
Okay, so what happens when you want to go proceed to grievance day?
Okay. Well, grievance day is really a form of checks and balances in government. That is the day that I, as the assessor, am not in charge of the assessment roll. I'm present on grievance day just to answer questions.
Okay.
And there's a board of people from the town.
How many people are on the grievance board?
There's 5 people.
Okay.
They're all volunteers, but they are given training by the state. So they do have training in valuation, assessment practices, and law.
Okay, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Training is very important.
Yes, definitely. And they have to go for re-education every 5 years.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so they stay current with the laws as they change. Some of our members of our grievance board are real estate agents, insurance agents, different people that have a different background in real estate.
Okay.
Because it's helpful.
Absolutely.
So we have a board of 5 people, and then the taxpayer who either doesn't know they can come in and meet with the assessor before grievance day, or did come to meet with me and didn't come to an agreement, can then come to the grievance board and present their case to them.
Okay, so is there, when you, say I come to you and I want to discuss my assessment and we don't agree. Now, would you tell me what to bring to the grievance day?
Well, I would. I always suggest to everybody, if it's a residential property, you should bring comparable sales.
Okay.
Now, our valuation date for this assessment roll is July 1st of 2016.
July 1st of 2016 is the date where...
We valued the property
Very
as
good.
of that date.
Okay.
Because there always has to be a cutoff point so we can compile the data to come up with our values. So you would look for comparables from that date, July 1st, 2016, and about a year earlier.
Okay.
So I would always encourage people to bring some kind of documentation. I mean, you can certainly go to the board and just talk to them and tell them you feel a certain way, but it always helps to have some concrete documentation to show them. So you can, we keep a sales book in my office. We list all the sales in the town. You can use that as a tool to find current sales. You can look on Dutchess County Parcel Access. If you've had a recent appraisal done, you can bring that in. People sometimes bring their homeowner's insurance because there's an estimate of value on that.
Right.
And then also you could go to a local real estate agent and ask them if they would get some comparable sales together for you.
Okay, so they can also get an appraisal?
They can. I don't want to tell people they have to do that because
Right.
it costs money.
It costs money for that.
So, I mean, there's ways of doing it, like I just suggested, that people can do it for free. But certainly if they would prefer to get a professional appraisal done, that's great too.
And what if I had a commercial building or a commercial piece of property? Is the same route to take, or is there?
It's a little different. It
Okay.
is the same route in coming in and talk about the assessment and then going to grievance day if you can't come to an agreement. But with a commercial property, we weigh more heavily on the income and expense approach to value.
Okay.
So I always ask for 3 years worth of income and expense
Okay.
from the property owner. We do look at sales, so sales, if they're available, are a good mechanism. And the cost approach is good as well, but as buildings get older, it becomes a little more subjective and less reliable.
Okay, so when sometimes the town enters into agreements with large commercial businesses like IBM or Global Foundries, and they had the tax
Like a pilot.
pilot, thank you, tax pilot. When they had a tax pilot, that is a better foundation for the town, because if their sales go down for several years, they can come in and ask for a reassessment. But if they have the pilot, everybody's going to pay an even amount, and we're going to collect an even amount.
Right. There's a misconception in the public, I think, about pilot programs, and this is all over, not just here in the town of East Fishkill. A pilot program, it means payment in lieu of taxes. It doesn't mean no taxes.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they're completely exempt from taxes. What it means is there's an agreed figure that the corporation would pay the town every year, and it's usually soundly based on certain criteria. I know with some manufacturing corporations, we've had agreements that were based on utilization of the property, almost like usage. So if they were to go below a certain amount of usage of the property, we would have to adjust the payment. Or if they went over, they started using more office space or more manufacturing space, it would go up. So then we would get more money. So there was different tripwires built into those agreements. But it is a really good mechanism for the town and for the taxpayer, for the businesses coming into the area, because that way everybody knows what they're paying. Like a business can say, okay, I know I have to pay $6 million a year, no matter if the taxes go up, if they go down, whatever happens, I have to know I have that amount of money.
Right.
And then the town, on the other hand, and the school district, and the county, the entities that collect taxes, know that they're getting that amount every
Right.
year. And it just is a better agreement all the way around, because it cuts down on legal expenses and litigation, court, and it just seems to be a better way to do business and attract different businesses to our area, which is what we want to do.
Absolutely, that helps all the residents with their taxes.
Right.
And so let me ask you, Kathy, over all the years of doing all the grievance days, usually is it a mellow type of day, or are tensions high?
I am like, well, when we were going through the reassessment, clearly we had more people, because in East Fishkill, we went from about 10% of market value to 100%.
So you can explain that a little bit more to the residents. Your value of the home used to be, if it was $100,000, we would base the taxes on $10,000.
Right.
So then we went to full evaluation,
Right.
which is 100%, right?
And
So-
it looked scary on paper,
Right.
but when your assessment was 10,000, your tax rate was so much higher. But the bill was the same. And the 100% market value, I really feel, is the way to go, because it's very transparent. Like if we assess your house at $250,000, that's what it's assessed at.
Right.
The percentage, assessing on percentages, I think it can get confusing for people. I just think it's much better to be straightforward.
Now, is that a state law that all the towns have to be at 100% assessment, or every town's different?
Yeah, every town is different. There is no state law that says that you have to be at 100%. However, a lot of the towns in Dutchess County did go to 100%. Not all, but a lot of us did a few years ago. One thing it really helps with, and one of the main reasons the town of East Fishkill did it, was to stop the shifts between the school district if you share with several towns.
Okay.
Like in the Wappinger School District, we share with Fishkill, we share with Wappingers, and if those towns are growing or appreciating or depreciating at a different rate than we are, there could be shifts, and then our tax rate's higher than Fishkill's, and that's not fair to our taxpayers.
Actually, our tax rate's lower than Fishkill's.
Well,
right?
I
Just
mean,
so they know.
But if there was shifting
Yes,
based
I
on,
understand.
then that wouldn't be good, and it's not fair. So everybody being on the same level playing field, it makes everything more equal for everybody.
It makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
Yes. And so not only are you in the assessor's office, you have a wonderful staff there.
Yes.
Right? You have Claire and Denise.
Yes.
How long have they been with you?
Oh, Claire and Denise have both been here just about as long as I have. Denise has been here for about 11 years, and Claire's been here for about 10. And they are wonderful. They enjoy dealing with the taxpayers and helping the senior citizens with their exemptions and the farmers, and
And
we have a good team.
Yeah, they're very informative too.
Yeah.
They have a lot of knowledge, and I'm sure that makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah.
You have good staff. It means a lot.
Definitely. I'm
And-
lucky.
And a little bit about exemptions.
Okay, yeah, that's another big thing that my office does. We also administer exemptions, which is a way for people that are entitled to, and there's a lot of people that are, entitled to receive breaks on their real property taxes. We administer exemptions for low-income senior, people 65 and over that are on a limited income. We also do the STAR, the enhanced STAR, the basic STAR, and we do the agricultural exemption, which my years in Pleasant Valley prepared me for coming here to East Fishkill, because we still do have a lot of agricultural
That's right.
land.
Yeah, we do in
And we
our
try to
town.
protect that. We really encourage, new agricultural projects, and we want to maintain that aspect of the town.
Absolutely.
And the county, for that part. But we have that, and we also have veterans exemptions. For the past history, we always had wartime veterans, but just in the last few years, the government, the state government enacted a Cold War veterans exemption, which were for people that served not during a period of war.
Oh, very good.
Yes, and now the school districts have finally opted into that.
That's great.
Yes.
Give a little tax relief for those.
Exactly.
That's
Because we
excellent.
always felt so bad when people would come in, and if they didn't fall within that category of Vietnam or Persian Gulf, we couldn't give them anything. And here were people that served many years for our country, so we wanted to be able to offer them an exemption too.
That's great to know. And are there deadlines for that?
Everything is March 1st.
Everything is March 1st.
Everything is March 1st.
So, and after that, then they have to worry about the next year.
Yes.
Okay, so March 1st, everybody, in
That's
case
the
you have to
deadline.
come. Okay, and what else do we do in the assessor's office?
Well, a lot of what we do is the valuation of property. We're always going out. You might see me driving around in my town truck looking at properties. Don't get scared if you see me. Sometimes we're just checking on the neighborhoods and just making sure that we have our data in order.
Right.
I mean, just because we're out in a neighborhood or if people get permits doesn't necessarily mean their assessment's always going to go up.
Right.
So, I mean, that's important to know. Like, I always tell people, if you want the shed, get the shed. It's not going to put that big of an impact on your
right.
assessment, if anything. So
Absolutely. So that's great.
Yeah, we do the valuation, and we're always looking at the market. We're always looking at trends. Like, we break it down by school district, then we break it down by style of house. We break it down by number of bedrooms. So we're always constantly, looking for the trends in the market and how much things are worth, how much, if you have a pool, how much does your house sell for more? Does it sell for more, or is it a detriment? I mean, we're always looking for data like
Right.
that.
Well, that's great. And
Yeah.
I know you ladies are always very busy in there.
Yeah.
And we're thankful to have you. So, again, so if people want to know, May 1st, right around May
Yes.
1st, they'll be getting their assessment
Yes.
in the mail. And if they don't like it, the best route to do is to come see the
Yes,
assessor.
come
see
in,
you, have a
yes.
discussion.
Yes.
And then you go from there.
Right, and you asked about grievance day. You know, during the reval, it was a little busier. The last few years, it hasn't been as busy, but that's because we meet with so many people ahead of time. So I really do encourage people to come in when they get that change of assessment notice, or even just come in. Don't even wait for it. If they want to find out, give us a call. You know, stop in. We're happy to answer questions anytime, and sometimes it just alleviates you having to go to grievance day.
That's
So,
great. That
yeah.
is great. And one final question is, what was the most crazy assessment you ever had to do?
Oh gosh, there's been a lot.
I bet there have been. It's a big town.
Well, I've had to do private runways and airplane hangars on people's
Oh,
properties.
wow. In our little town?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. And let's see what else. We had to do some high-profile people owning commercial property in our municipality that we dealt with. So that was interesting.
You get to meet a lot of
You do.
cast of characters,
yeah, you
don't
do.
you?
Or, you know, so in Beacon, I dealt with Pete Seeger, you know,
Right.
different people, different things. But probably the most interesting was the runway, I'd say, on
The
the
runway?
private, yeah, people, private property and all that. So,
They want their own plane.
yeah, I
right?
mean, hey,
Wow.
if you can have it, I guess, why not, right?
That's right. God bless. All right. Well, Kathy, thanks for chatting with us today, and I'm sure we could maybe do this again.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
Kathy.
you.